Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. This is part 2 of the Flash set review. If you haven't listened to part 1, please go listen to part 1. It's a good 40-something minutes of solid analysis of figures, pretty much up to Jack Hawksmoor. So definitely check up that and check out all the analysis that I have on that. I know when I do this, it's sort of rough because usually the first video gets like 50 views, and then like the second video gets like 100, to 300 views and stuff like that. Just listen to the first video. I'm not trying to pander for views, but I really do think it's going to be helpful. I know some people, they're just like, it's just too much. And again, there's 2 parts. If you need to take your time, cool. All right. Let's go into the second part here. We're going to start off with Amanda Waller. Now, the main reason we're going to start off with Amanda Waller is for a particular reason, and that's because she's giving us both police team ability and Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad in particular is really, really, really good and has a lot of potential in a meta where there isn't any Suicide Squad. Just to be like, oh, you die, I heal. Just start thinking about how that procs with several other ridiculously stupid figures like, oh, hey, I'm a wild card and I have stop clicks, or hey, check this out. My guy that shouldn't, my pogs die. Oh, I heal. Pff, check me out now, I'm boss. Oh, I'm able to access that different power on the entity that I need. There's a lot of stuff with that. Add in the fact with, PD, you already know where that's going. All right, first let's start off with her trait. Special Recruit. When you build your force, choose a character with the Arkham Asylum and Justice League, Rogue, Secret Society of Supervillains, or Society keyword. That character has the Suicide Squad keyword this game. Now, right there is your money. Right there is your money, because you have access to like boss characters like Black Adam, Lex Luthor, Giganta. There's just so many good characters with those keywords that automatically, you could say, oh, Joker, Harley Quinn, blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. But you're able to, right there, just add any character, any team ability that you need on your force and just be like, bam, got it. Let's go. Okay. So right there, that's one thing where I'm like, whiz kids, y'all need to watch that, being able to allow characters to gain keywords. Just saying. But this one is fine. You're all expendable. Amanda Waller can use Mastermind as if she was 150 points. But she may only transfer damage to an adjacent friendly character with a shared keyword. So she can't use Pogs. So that part sucks. But other than that, you're most of the time no one's targeting Amanda Waller. So let's be honest. Next up is behavior collars. Amanda Waller can use this is so bad. Amanda Waller can use Outwit, give a power action to a friendly character with a shared keyword, and within 6 squares in line of fire, that character can use Outwit until your next turn. Now, the issue with this power is that technically you're getting a double Outwit. Because Amanda Waller can use Outwit, and so she outwits something. Then you're able to give a power action to a friendly character with a shared keyword. Now note, entities, you're stupid because of this. You're able to do all sorts of silliness with entities, but we all know that, or even with the power batteries, because now you are a Lantern recruit. Check that out. Just put a construct on Amanda Waller. Oh gosh, this is just getting worse. I haven't even finished the analysis. Anyway, with a share keyword with the 6 squares. So if you have line of fire to the other person, you're able to pretty much just have the other character be given a power action so that they can use outwit. So you can outwit a second thing. So it's like, oh, you have super senses shape change. I outwit super senses with Amanda. Then I take a power action, give the other character a power action, outwit your shape change. Now I can attack you. You can't evade the damage. So that right there is pretty solid. So definitely Amanda Waller, awesome. Tornado Twins are fun. Not even for what they do. They're just fun. Just play them to have fun. Don't even look at them at meta for meta. Just play them to have fun. You're going to look at number 37 Flash just for the pure fact that he's going to kill other Flashes in the set. That's the only reason you're looking at him. Because with Precision Strike and Prob, it's going to give you the ability just to hit those higher defenses. So that's it. I mean, not higher defenses, the super senses that we see. And then also when we start looking at constructs and stuff, like, woohoo, shape change, super senses, boom. There we go. Dark Flash. This guy is broken, and I hate him, and I wish WizKids didn't make him. And this is where I'm going to sort of just beat on WizKids for a moment. If you've listened to this show, you know when I say the following phrase, golden ratio. This is a golden ratio character that is beyond abusive. Beyond abusive. Okay, first off, you have Dark Flash. Dark Flash has, okay keywords. Oh, I have Central City and Justice League and Speedster and Teen Titans. Okay, big do. I don't care about that. 13 movement with hypersonic speed. That's a bit high. That's really high. 11 attack. That's high for at 110 points on first click. That's really high. Okay. 17D, don't care about that, but I can fix that with Despotellus and Adara. So then I'm, rocking a 20. Okay, then you have Speed Force. When Dark Flash, blah, 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 whatever, add Speed Force token. Okay, a more ruthless Flash. If Dark Flash has 2 speed tokens on his card, he deals penetrating damage. Well, looky here, man. I have 4 damage up front. 4 damage. Okay, think about that. 4 penetrating damage from a hypersonic speeder. That is excessive. Excessive. You're giving a character a super swing and then be able to say like, oh yeah, it's penetrating damage. If I've hit twice already. Yeah, that's dumb. Okay, if he has at least 4 speed tokens on his card, he can use improved movement, ignores elevated, ignores hindering, ignores blocking terrain. Okay, how many Flashes have that all together? Hindering, elevated, and blocking, so you really can't hide from him. And blocking terrain, and destroys blocking terrain as he moves through it. Really. So he just busts down walls. So I can go through and chisel through all your barrier that you just put up, smack you, then come back to my hidey hole, and then say, hey, guess what, Catman Tui? You know how you couldn't shoot them before because of their 15 barriers? Here you go. And then Catman Tui's like, thank you, young buck, and then lights them up. Now, again, am I against barrier tech? No. And have I pointed out in the previous show how abusive, definitely Hawksmoor can be with barrier? Yes. I can understand how that's an issue, but to add in ignores elevated, ignores hindering, and ignores blocking, destroys blocking terrain. Like adding all of that together with getting more Speed Force tokens and then saying, oh yeah, penetrating damage. Yeah, penetrating damage, and then it says, as he moves through and may move through squares adjacent to or occupied by opposing characters, but still needs to break away. So he's just be able to like, okay, I can move through you. But, I need to break away if I need to get away. But if I'm just moving, I can just move through you. There is nothing that stops him after he lands 4 attacks. Now, from a tempo perspective, if he doesn't have willpower, quote unquote, then yes, I can see how getting up to 4 speed tokens could be a problem. But there's this wonderful thing called the nurse, where pushing makes it so that, hey, it's not as big of a deal as it was before. And I could just slap that onto Dark Flash. And for a total of 120 points, and then add in, several other points for my resource, for my battery and my ring, I have a figure that can run out there, hypersonic speed, in 2 attacks, do penetrating damage. Also is able to eventually, if the game prolongs enough and I don't kill it, is just able to ignore everything and just smack people. Okay, the lowest your damage value goes down is to a 2, but if it's penetrating damage, guess what? You're doing the equivalent of what a 4 damage character would do against an impervious character or an invulnerability character. Okay, the only thing that's really saving you is invincibility. That's it. So, this is like slap on the face, WizKids. It's not even a slap on the wrist. This is a slap on the face. You've made this character way too powerful. Prepare to see it in meta play. Prepare to see it, and definitely in no tactics, because there's no Orange Lantern battery to just say, no hypersonic speed for you. Like, I think that is the only thing right now that is actually a detriment to this character, is just you being able to say with the Orange Lantern power battery, no hypersonic speed for you. Just sit there. Just sit there. So, all right. Next up is Captain Cold, and this dude is broken. 100 points, Legion of Doom. Rogue, Secret Society of Villains, 100 points. Frozen Field. At the beginning of your turn, you may place an ice block special terrain marker within range and line of fire. It just happens. Okay, so, and it stays there. Period. Okay, when a character occupying or adjacent to one of these markers attempts to move, it must attempt to break away as if the marker was a character that can use plasticity and is friendly to Captain Cold. So it doesn't stop your own guys, but it sure does hose your opponent. Okay. Next, this is bad. Okay, Absolute Zero. Captain Cold can use Precision Strike. So yeah, Flashes, I can shoot you. When he hits with an attack, you may place an ice block terrain marker in that square. Sorry, it should probably be next to that square. But it just says in that square. No, it's in that square. So now you're frozen in ice, which means you can occupy ice, the ice token, ice blast tokens, ice block tokens. So, okay. So now you're frozen in ice. And now you have to break away. But also, because it's special terrain, I can also throw on, a net around there and some other stuff. And you move out, and then you have to move into my net and stop. Sort of see how that goes. It's sort of silly. Like Captain Cold, I'm just going to say this. Captain Cold plus the wall plus or even with the net. Complete silly town. Should never have existed. Okay, just it's complete silliness. Okay, then I lead the rogues as much as anyone does. Captain Cold uses leadership. When he does, he may only remove tokens from characters with the rogues keyword, and they are considered to have a lower point value. So he could just take tokens off of higher point rogues, which is sort of cool, but there aren't many higher point rogues if you catch them adrift. All right, so I mean, you're looking at maybe another 100-point characters. That's what you're looking at. All right. Next up is Dr. Alchemy. He can use Running Shot, Psychic Blast, 17D, 3 damage. He has 2 special powers starting off. He has Transmute Elements. Dr. Alchemy can use Barrier as if he had a range value of 8 to place up to 10 markers. But at least half of them must be hindering or water terrain. So, it's mixed. So you get 4 blocking terrain, but you're also able to say like water and pretty much smoke cloud. Any of these terrain markers may be placed in squares of hindering or water terrain. So you could put blocking on water. So that's unique. The fact that you can put blocking on water, and that normally you can't do that. Then it has changed your weapons to chalk. Dr. Alchemy can use Outwit. When he does, encounters an attack power that the targeted characters can't make a ranged combat attack until your next turn. Now, Dr. Alchemy in the past has been a very interesting character, has been like the super support character that people have turned to. This doesn't change anything. He's still a very super supporty character, and with this power in particular, I feel he becomes very, very strong, and here's why. The pure fact that a lot of characters don't have the ability to shift from being ranged into melee automatically creates a situation where you have a lockdown. And it's not a perma lockdown, but it's a strong lockdown. If you have a team with multiple ranged attackers and Dr. Alchemy outwits an attack power, then does his silly token barrier, smoke cloud, water terrainness. Now I've cut off line of fire to Dr. Alchemy. I've made character number 1 unable to attack because they can't make ranged attacks and they're, 6 squares away. Okay. Then I've made character number 2 unable to draw a line of fire. So on an average 300-point team, you're only going to get 2 ranged attackers at most. So I pretty much just shut you down. So you can't draw line of fire to Dr. Alchemy. You can't draw a line of fire to the other targets because of the barrier. Boom. What do you do for a Klondike bar? Da-da-da. So Dr. Alchemy is going to be really strong. Now, here's the problem. Most people aren't going to look at Dr. Alchemy because A, his cost, and B, his range. But again, we can fix all that with a sniper rifle, and boom, Bob's your uncle. The other element that I feel becomes really silly with him is that you start combining him with Star Sapphire. You start combining him with Blue Lantern Ring. Ooh, who would have thought I said that? He now is, or even Sinestro Core. Now he's getting access to Perplex. Now he's getting access to, Shape Change Mystics. He's able to wild card into something else. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with Dr. Alchemy. I just think that a lot of people aren't going to look at him, which is sort of sad. Next up is Weather Wizard. Weather Wizard, I see him get a little hate online, but this dude is really strong. First off, it says here he has his special attack power says, powers like the seasons. At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. Weather Wizard can use the power indicated by the result on the back of this card. So first off, he gets Spring Storms. When Weather Wizard makes a ranged combat attack, it generates knockback. And if the target occupies outdoor terrain, damage dealt is increased by the target's elevation level, which can be really, really huge if you're hitting someone on elevation 3. Okay, so definitely something to think about when picking map with him. Summer Lightning. Weather Wizard can use improved targeting, ignores elevated terrain, ignores hindering, ignores outdoor blocking, ignores characters. So he's just like, I shoot who I want to shoot. Sun, what's up? Autumn Winds. Weather Wizard can use Quake as if he occupied a single square of outdoor terrain within range. Not where he's at, within range. Characters with standard symbol or tiny size can't ignore knockback during this attack. So it's like, oh, your charge, completely pointless. So that's a lot of control right there. Number 4, Winter Chill. Weather Wizard can use Smoke Cloud. When he does, after actions resolve, he can use Incapacitate as a free action, targeting all opposing characters occupying one or more of these markers with a close combat attack. So yeah, with a 7 range, that's pretty good. Just to be able to say like, okay, I can incapacitate 4 characters, or 3 characters, or 2 characters, and also sort of put them in hindering terrain. So if they're able to move, they're not a flyer, then they're going to have problems. All right. Next up is Heat Wave, mainly just because he has a high attack, standard damage, and enhancement, energy explosion, 2 targets. 6 range, don't care, sniper rifle can fix that. He has access to barrier willpower when he makes an attack and misses. He can immediately use barrier as a free action, but must place one of the blocking terrain markers adjacent to an opposing character that he missed. When these blocking terrain markers are destroyed or removed from the map at the beginning of your next turn, any opposing character adjacent to one or more of these characters are dealt 1 damage. Now, this guy with some poison characters can be deadly. And with the Red Lantern battery can be really silly. So, anyway. Moving on. Some people like Fallout. I could sort of take it or leave it. It's I look at it like this. You can put in a lot of control with Fallout, and you can play multiples and really sort of zone your opponent, but I think really you need a way of getting plasticity on them. So like, yeah, orange lanterns, just to make them, stick around. But other than that, that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's it. Yeah. So, some people like Murmur as well. I again am sort of like, it's okay. It's cheap. And again, I know some of you are going to disagree. It was like, oh my gosh, he's so awesome. And I'm like, okay, sorta. Like I don't really like it. Next up, we're going to look at Savitar. Again, Speed Forcers. Then he has Drain Your Speed, get Savitar free action, place 1 speed token from an opposing character's card on this card. That's the bossness right there. That's what I want to see. This is what's going to threaten your dark Flash. It's like, oh, you got a Speed Force token? Guess what, homie? I got a Speed Force token. Now I'm going to smack you. Now I got another Speed Force token. So unless someone's running multiple speedsters, they're not going to be able to stop that. The Lord of Motion, opposing characters decrease their speed values by the number of speed tokens on this card. So it's not even a modify. It just says a decrease. So the question is how they're going to interpret that. I'm going to just say modify. So that's another like, yes. Okay. Then you have the Speed Force makes me invincible, which is his damage power. If Savitar has at least 5 speed tokens on his card, at the beginning of your turn, you may heal him of 1 damage. It just happens. There's nothing else. It just happens. Remove 3 speed tokens from his card to prevent all damage dealt to him from an attack. Again, if you're it can happen whenever, and it's when damage dealt. So if you roll super senses and let's say you have a battery, oh my gosh, and then you now have shape change. It's like, okay, I missed my shape change, I missed my super senses. I have 8 speed force tokens. Yeah, I can get rid of 3. Doesn't affect me none, son. So this is the part where, yeah, the return of Pulse Wave is like the return of the Mac. It would make you go round and round. Yeah, I just had to do that one. The mind control at the end dial is sort of like, why? Really, why? So, that's another thing. Anyway, so overall, this guy right here, Savitar, he's probably going to be one of your best anti-speedster tech that you can run without it getting ridiculous. Yeah. Does he completely negate Dark Flash? No. And I would almost be tempted to say you can run the two together, but that's a little overcommitting on the hypersonic speed. Unless you're in a higher point game. Higher point game, definitely check that out. Etrigan is not fun to play against if you faced an experienced person, because Etrigan can choose not to die. Period. Okay, so you have Gone, Form of Man, and it says when Etrigan the Demon has a red click number, so I assume that is his demon form, give him a power action to turn to his blue click number with the same combat value. So he turns into the Jason Blood, I think. When Etrigan the Demon has a blue click number, give him a free action to turn him to his red click. So, it's a free action. Boom. I just turn to my first click of Etrigan. You may only use one of these effects. You may only use one of these effects during your turn. So my opponent comes in. I'm running, Jason Blood running around there like, haha, empower, haha, enhance. Yes, I'm a friend to all my teammates in the Shadow Pact. Boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got popped really hard in the mouth and I'm almost dead. Gone, Form of Man. Boom, demon time. Okay, you're fighting. It's demon time. Demon, Etrigan's, kicking butt, taking names, chewing bubble gum. Okay, you have invincibility up front unless they outwit it. Really, unless they outwit it, you're just taking ridiculous. I mean, you're not taking a ridiculous amount of damage, and your opponent is taking mystics every time they've hit you. And so then let's say they get you down to toughness and 10 attack and perplex. You can perplex your opponent's attack, your buddy's attack up, or your opponent's defense down, or whatever. Okay. Then you're just like, well, no one on the map has 5 damage. Gone, Form of Man. Poof. You're back to Jason Blood again. Now, think about this. What would you have to do to stop this stupid cycle? You would have to double tap Etrigan the Demon only when he's on Jason Blood dial. But if your opponent is able to stop you from drawing lines of fire to him to allow the double tap to happen by, let's say, all that barrier that you can get through the bazillion different ways, what's going to happen? Really ask yourself, what's going to happen? In a higher point game, you can say, well, Dark Logos is not going to be a problem. I got enough attackers, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, in a higher enough point game, you have other things that are threatening. But then, at the same time, Etrigan can still come back in mid to late game if you fail to deal with him. If you deal with him early when he's on the Jason Blood clicks, yeah, all right, cool. But your opponent can just easily turn 1, be gone, Form of Man, start on Etrigan, and now you start with the fight. Okay, so it's not that easy solution of like, oh, I'm going to get rid of him. It's like, no, you're not going to easily get rid of him. You are going to have to invest time to kill him. Okay, so I really want y'all to understand that. Trying to chunk through that invincible to get 3 clicks on him to get him to toughness means that you have to dump 4 clicks to get him onto click 3. I mean, 4, yeah, you have to deal 4 clicks of damage so that you can get him on to click 3. That's a lot. So anyway, he also has two special powers on the defense power is Etrigan the Demon can use energy shield deflection, outwit, and toughness. So yeah. So right there you have to do penetrating damage. Then you have the damage power, the Mighty Fear Me. Etrigan the Demon can use exploit, weakness, and probability control. So yeah. Just have fun with that, buddy. Charge, blades, exploit, weakness, and prop. Yeah. Just have fun fighting that. So, in the midst of all this other silliness in the Flash, Etrigan is probably another one of those. Yeah, you're running a bunch of speedsters. Guess what? Start off with Etrigan the Demon. Your opponent's running a bunch of speedsters. Start off with Etrigan the Demon, see what happens, and watch what goes down. Harley Quinn, shout out to my man Jadere. Harley Quinn is a bit brokens in multiple ways. So let's start off. How many keywords do you really need, darling? How many keywords really? That's a lot. Those are a lot of teams that she can be on and keep theme. Okay, with calculator, she can wildcard all of that. So let's just, and then oh yeah, you too can be part of Suicide Squad. So anyway, you have, starting off with the 65 point dial, you get stealth. She also had, stealth, 2 special powers and outwit, but we'll come back to that. Gosh, her improved movement, she's able to ignore Henry terrain and ignore his characters. Just that right there, for how cheap she is, that automatically just made me just say, oh gosh, just watch it happen. Then my pudding. By far the most brilliant power to be made in heroclix as of late is this. Once per game, choose a friendly character. It doesn't even say at the beginning of the game. It just says once per game. It can happen at any freaking point in time. Choose a friendly character with a higher point value. And also, just to let you know, until they fix this, friendly mind control, my friends. Friendly mind control allows you to do multiple once per game effects. If I could do like the little glass clinging right now, I would do that and say cheers to you. As I take a sip of water. Choose a character with a higher point value. That chosen character is Harley's pudding. Harley Quinn can use perplex and probability control, but only to target her pudding. When her pudding is KO'd, modify all of Harley Quinn's combat values by +1. So again, friendly mind control, double pick puddings, then boom, boom, boom. If pudding 1 dies of a tragic death, fine, +1 stats. Pudding 2 dies a tragic death, +2 stats. Oh, I have an entity on me that gives me charge or hypersonic speed, and Bob's your uncle. It is a ridiculously powerful effect. But again, that's mainly me thinking about this today. That is not what it was intended. And again, WizKids, you need to make once per game effects truly once per game. But I don't make the rules, I just break them. Next is the second trait, is sneak, sneak, sneak. When Harley Quinn has no action token, she can use sidestep, which that's pretty cool. Then you have Naughty Naughty, which is her attack power that she starts with at the beginning of both point values. Harley Quinn can use poison. When she does, if she is adjacent to only one opposing character, the damage dealt is penetrating damage. That I fully like. That's pretty cool. And then I'm not even a real blonde. Harley Quinn can use combat reflexes and super senses. So up close, she becomes really hard to hit and is able to evade. 5 range, not that bad. I mean, overall, just a fun piece, really solid. Can be, with double friendly mind control, can be broken. But played normally is balanced. There we go. Next up is Zoom. And for some reason, Zoom always... He always brings out something in me. I don't know. It's like a survival instinct of saying, be concerned. 150 points. That's a little bit high. No ATA. No TA. So it's like, okay. Has improved movement, carving a path through Keystone in Central City. Ignores elevation, ignores hindering, which is good because he's one of the few speedsters that has both of those. Then he has a human blur. Zoom can use shape change, which is awesome because that means that I don't have to add that construct on him. So I can just give him, a sniper rifle and watch him be stupid. He doesn't even deal with the Speed Force thing, which is even better because then I don't have to worry about building him up to do something. Tragedy will make you better. When he attacks an opposing character with the lowest point value on the character's force, modify Zoom's attack and damage value by +1. When he attacks an opposing character with the highest point value on that character's force, Zoom can use Precision Strike. So he gets to pick on the weak and then make sure he does damage to the strong. I like that. Add in the sniper rifle, you'll like it even better. Then I'm in all the timelines simultaneously. Wow. At the beginning of your turn, remove all timeline tokens from this card. I think I've missed something, or they didn't post something, because how do I get timeline tokens? Roll a d6 and place a number of timeline tokens on this card. Oh, here we go. Roll a d6 and place a number of timeline tokens on this card equal to half the result. Remove timeline tokens from Zoom's card, and he can immediately use probability control even if he's done so already. So, yeah. And it happens at the beginning of your turn. So you get to use more props. So here's the thing. You can just say, all right, let's say you roll a 6. I have 3 timeline tokens. Now I can just be like, well, I missed, or sorry, Billy Joe Bob missed, prop him. Jane missed, prop her. I attack, I miss, prop myself. That's like shake your head stupid. That is shake your head stupid. Because I wouldn't say you're guaranteeing that you're going to hit, but the odds of you missing with 3 probs, let's say 3 probs, or even let's take it down to reality, 2 probs. The odds of you missing after 2 probs on a standard figure is pretty low. And then you add in the fact that you have to, everybody understands. Most of my analysis of blah, 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 this attack is bad. Why? Because I'm assuming that you get 1 shot. Unless that character has prob, then I can assume that you're going to have 2 shots. Statistically, things don't shift with the more attempts that you have. It's just that you have another chance to break that odd. Okay, so again, the more chances you get, the more likely are the odds to be in your favor. Okay, the statistical chance doesn't change. It's just you have more attempts to get the positive end of that chance. Hopefully that makes sense. When you're pretty much saying, I have 3 chances or 4 chances, because again, you count the initial attack plus the 3 probs at max to make that hit. That's really strong. Then you also have other abilities that you can start to tie in and be like, oh yeah, I can increase my damage value this way and increase my attack value this way. And then you start seeing how ridiculous that can become. 150, again, you don't want to commit to 150 with such low damage output. But when you're looking at continual damage output, that's a different subject. I would definitely say he's a prime target for Steel Energy. For Steel Energy, definitely through, what was it? Anger's Hammer? Yeah. Oh, Apollo. Was waiting for you for years. Now you're here. I really don't want to have you as a figure. So Midnighter can be strong. You just need to just be cautious. That's the only thing I'll say. You just need to be cautious. Charge, flurry, toughness, at 125, 3 range, exploit weakness, having some cool traits that, I know what you'll do when opposing character uses close combat expert. They only can modify one value by +1, so you can't do 2 damage on you. So that's cool. Then we fought this fight in my head already. When Midnighter targets an opposing character with a close combat attack, until your next turn, modify that character's defense value by -1 and ignore any modifiers that character to that character's value, which is any other. It says any other. So which is really good, because you're able to just say, all right, you have an 18 defense and you're getting, +2 from whatever effect. I'm going to charge you. I'm targeting you with a close combat attack. Now you don't have that bonus. Your 18 is now a 17. So that's good, and definitely when you're looking at 11 attack, that's 11 on a 17 needing a 6. Odds are in your favor, and then that doesn't stop you from getting other stat mods yourself. So overall, I like this. I really, really like this. I think at 125 and at 100, you're getting really good value. And I didn't even go for the soft spots. That's how good he is. Midnighter can use exploit weakness, so he pretty much has full dial exploit weakness. If he uses outwit to target an adjacent character, Midnighter can use plasticity and can't be ignored for movement purposes. All right, so Kingdom Come Flash is a interesting setup for multiple reasons. Coming in at 195 is a bit high, like really high. Definitely considering, really, it's just really high. Like the meta really doesn't fit for a figure like him. Definitely starting off like, oh, I do 3 damage. No, like that's rough. Okay. And I think they're also trying to compensate for the previous Kingdom Come Flash was dirt cheap for his cost and what he could do. So I think they were trying to just say like, you're not going to get that again. But if you remember the glory days, you'll like him. So first off, you have the Speed Force thing, blah, blah, blah. You already know what that does. Then he says he never gets tired. He never stops moving. The Flash speed powers can't be countered. So it can't be countered, but hey, homeboy, you can use the Orange Lantern battery and make sure you can't use it. So that's the big thing. I think that's the one thing I don't think WizKids really thought through with the Orange Lantern power battery. Is like, oh yeah, just can't use something. Patrolling both cities at once, the Flash can use hypersonic speed. When he does, you may remove a speed token from his card, and he may make a second close combat attack, or use Outwit as a free action, this move, and then continue his movement. So he has a hypersonic speed flurry. We've seen this in the past, and not too impressed because there's other characters that can do more damage. The only way that Flash is doing a lot of damage is if he's hitting characters with no damage reduction. That is it. So that's an issue right there. Okay. Then it's who would dare be a criminal in this city? Up to 3 times per turn, give Flash a free action. This uses attack power. And remove a speed token from his card. From this card, when you do, lock his damage value at the current value until the end of the turn, and give him a close combat action as a free action. Now, he only has like a 2 damage at that stage, which is okay. But if you want to say, oh, I modified it, then yeah, his current value, because it doesn't say printed value, is locked. So you could do some cool stuff. So yeah, let's see. Current value to the next thing. Yeah, so he could do like multiple close combat attacks, which would be cool if you just like, oh, look, I up my value up to like, let's say 5, and then I just wail on you. The odds of that happening is real low, but it can happen. Then you have defensive special power. He's just a blur. The Flash can use super senses, but succeeds on a roll of 3 through 6. This roll can't be re-rolled, which sort of sucks because you really sort of need that with the Blue Lantern battery. Like that's like a prime Blue Lantern battery, option right there. So overall, we can really see with this that is he strong? Yes. Is he broken? No, he's way too expensive for him to be broken. If he was 150 or even 160, then I would say, yeah, homeboy is broken. Watch list him. Heck, ban him. He's way too strong. But at this point value, he's fine. He's appropriate costed. Next up is Elongated Man. Elongated Man only comes on this list because he does a couple of things. First off, yay, Justice League. You get a nice, cheap detective. Well, let me rephrase it. A nice, okay detective that's also able to do some cool stuff. So there's that. He also has Ignore Elevation, Ignores Hindering. So he can always go wherever he needs to go. Then you have Gengold Soda. Elongated Man can use plasticity. Opposing characters within 2 squares of line of fire treat Elongated Man as adjacent for movement purposes, which is really big when you're dealing with a bunch of flashes running around. Okay, so that's a big, huge area in which you've just said, hey, buddy, do not pass go, do not collect $200. So it may not seem like it, but Elongated Man is a very, very big bodyguard / zoner. And that's in his trait. Then you have Closing In on a Suspect. Elongated Man can use Barrier, Combat Reflexes, and Willpower, which is even more silly because now he can zone you even more. And then my nose is twitching. Elongated Man can use Outwit as if he had a range value of 8, which is awesome. And Improved Targeting, Ignores Elevation, Ignores Hindering, Ignores Characters. So, yeah, you have the ability to outwit whatever you want. So, overall, I feel that 81 points, yes, it's high. But you're getting a lot for that 81 points, and you are doing a lot in that 81 points. I'm going to bring up this next one only because it hurts my soul. But I gotta bring him up as a Shazam fan. Captain Thunder. Why he hurts me so bad, he hurts me. He hurts me because at 225 points, I must say I would never play him. He has nothing. He has very little of value when I start thinking about all the other silly characters in the set that I could play that can just out damage him when I look at my point costs. Like Dark Flash, once I have 2 speed tokens, can out damage him. Okay. Now you might, and I would even say to an extent, what was his name? Apollo. Apollo coming in at a lower point cost gives me a lot more stability. And that says something. That Apollo gives me more stability than Captain Thunder. Okay? So there's that. The next thing that makes me let's just go into the dial. Let's just go into the powers, and I'll break it down a little bit more in the dial. Okay, last striped tiger of Kondak. At the beginning of the game, place a tawny bystander token as described on this card adjacent to Captain Thunder. Give Captain Thunder a free action when he has 2 action tokens, and place a friendly character within 8 squares in line of fire named Tawny adjacent to him. So it's sort of cool that you can bring in Tawny the Tiger, and it doesn't show me on HC Realms what Tawny's Tiger the stats are, but okay, let's just say he has a 10 attack and Blaze Claws Fangs. Okay, that sort of makes things up. Okay, great. Next, you have his special defense power, which is you wouldn't hurt a bunch of orphans. Captain Thunder can use Shape Change and Super Senses when this power is revealed. When this power is revealed due to taking damage from opponent's attack, stop turning the dial. Remove all action tokens from Captain Thunder. This power can't be ignored. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, Dark Logos, White Lantern Power Battery, Power Action Heal, Stop Click, Double Stop Click, Can't Die, Stupid, Regen, Yes, I know that. That was like one of the first things that sort of came into my mind. My problem is how much you're investing to do that for your damage output. Just purely for your damage output. That's where my problem is. Then it's Shazam. Captain Thunder can use Pulse Wave with the range value of 6. When he does, he targets more than one character. His damage value becomes 2 and is locked. When he uses Pulse Wave and after actions resolve, you may deal Captain Thunder 1 unavoidable damage. Now, this becomes questionable later on the dial, and it allows for dial manipulation. I see why they put it in there, but the fact that you pick may take damage is quite interesting. At 125 points, is this character worth playing? No. Not really. You can justify it by saying, poof, I put a sniper rifle on him, and now I have I'm able to Shazam, Pulse Wave, and boom, I'm in this position where, pretty much, for lack of a better word, I could just snipe with him. But there's cheaper characters and better characters with longer clicks and more clicks that you could just snipe with. It's like, oh, look, I have charge. And I was like, no. So, the hypersonic speed, super strength, 5 damage at 225. You're like, oh, pick up an ultra heavy, I can do 8. In the meta that we're in now, whoever you're going to be smacking for that 8 damage is most likely going to have Invincible up front or Impervious up front. And there's a problem. It's just too much. There's too many problems. Would he be fun to pull or fun to play? Yes, and I would definitely say he's a prime candidate for Star Sapphire battery, power plant. What else is there? Infinity Gauntlet. There's a ton of cool things that he should be primed for, but just as he is now, he has a lot of problems. Next up is Professor Zoom. And Professor Zoom, the only reason I'm going to bring up Professor Zoom is Return from the Future. If Professor Zoom has 10 speed tokens, you can remove them and take 1 extra turn after this one. So that's the main reason. Also, you have the other trait is Return of Barry Allen. If Professor Zoom has at least 2 speed tokens, he can use Shape Change and Willpower. If Professor Zoom has at least 3 speed tokens, he can use Blaze Claw's Fangs with a close combat attack and sidestep. If Professor Zoom has at least 4 speed tokens, he deals penetrating damage. But his damage is really, really low. So the only reason it becomes a benefit is if you use it with blades, but that's it. Overall, it's sort of fun. I can see some potential in the future, but you're really dependent on that blades. Then there's the Prime Zoom, which again we're looking at like the Whiz Kids. You're doing stupid stuff again. His attack power is a new Black Flash. Remove a speed token from this card. Choose either Exploit Weakness or Flurry. If you do, Zoom can use Blaze Claw's Fangs and the Chosen Power as a free action instead of making a close combat attack while using Hypersonic Speed this turn. So, yay, I can Hypersonic Speed and blade you, or Hypersonic Speed and use Exploit Weakness, which is really, that's way too strong. Then you have the defense power later on, is you can fight me as if I live. Zoom can use regeneration and toughness. When he uses regeneration, increase the result of the D6 roll by half the number of speed tokens on this card, maximum 6. So yeah. So he could. That's way too strong. Death will make you better. Zoom can use Still Energy when an opposing character is KO'd. Heal Zoom with 1 damage and place a speed token on his card. So he just goes through like, oh, I kill your paw guys, I get stronger and a speed token. So there's a lot there, but I mean, is he as strong as Dark Flash? No. Then let's see, Abracadabra. I didn't really like him. Cobalt Blue, just real quick, he's worth mentioning just for the fact that his trait, Speed Stealer, give Cobalt Blue a free action. Choose any number of target opposing characters within 8 squares in line of fire until your next turn. Those characters modify their speed values by -3, and Cobalt Blue modifies his speed value by +1 for each character targeted this way, and his attack value by +1 for every 2 targeted this way. So he can get a nice little stat bump real quick, and then he has his first little power. It's like a flame that chills, not burns, when Cobalt Blue makes a close combat attack against a single target, and after an action resolve, roll d6 on resolve 4 through 6 to give the target an action token. So he can really slow down your opponent a lot because you take in 3 off of them. Then if you hit them, you have a chance of getting an action token. But again, it's on a close combat. So there's an ups and downsides to that. Gorilla Grodd is okay. That's just how I'm going to leave it there. Magenta, I'm just going to tell you, being able to TK and move, that for that point alone, you should just play her. Deathstroke, ignore the pirate. Shade, the Mystics is interesting, and his Shadow Demons thing is interesting, and can be used for a lot of control. Is it worth 129 points? Again, sniper rifle to get the full effect out of it, so that you can hit characters that are far away, and put that level of control out there. The engineer is pretty much Super Scroll Light. Super Scroll Light, because the 9 points of liquid machinery for blood, give the engineer a free action. Choose a standard speed, so you can use running shot, hypersonic speed, charge, whatever. Attack, so energy explosion, pulse wave, psychic blast, and damage power, prop, perplex, range combat expert, whatever. And she can use those powers until her next turn. No penalties, no rolling to see if you take damage. So right there it's a really good deal. So if you didn't like that part about Super Scroll, this part with the engineer is probably up your alley. She's definitely prime candidate for Star Sapphire. Then you have Toxic Environment Cleanse. When an opposing character would be poisoned, when an opposing character would use poison to deal penetrating damage. Using poison to deal penetrating damage or more than one damage, they deal one damage instead when you have toughness. So, boom, right there. I do like the fact that they have Jenny Sparks in there. That's pretty cool. She's a beast. Running shot, 11 attack, pulse wave, 4 damage. Electrical cortex, short circuit, which is when she killed their god character. So yeah. When Jenny Sparks hits an opposing character, that character can't use special powers from now until your next turn. Which, if you see all these special powers, that's huge. And that's her trait. So just imagine being able to AoE just shut off a ton of powers. So, like, a couple key figures come to mind. One of which is like Professor X, and another one is the other Aura guy, Science Police Officer. Anyway, next up is her damage power. If you die, I'll just dig you up and put you to work again. Jenny Sparks can use leadership. When she does, and the result is 6, remove all action tokens from all adjacent friendly characters with the authority keyword. This is huge with Hawksmoor. Really huge. Just imagine that guy just going pure beast mode on people just because he can get anywhere he wants to on a map. Like, gosh. Then you have massive electrical arc. Jenny Sparks can use penetrating psychic blast, improved targeting, ignores characters, has 3 targets. When she uses psychic blast, increase the damage dealt to each character by the number of characters adjacent to it. So yeah, right there, prime candidate for a hammer. So yeah, that's that. Oh gosh, that sort of makes me sick just a tiny bit. Next, here's your chases. I'm just gonna lump them together and say Phantom Stranger is nice, but all of them, it's sort of like, you could take it or leave it. The Question is sort of cool, but again, take it or leave it. So that's how I see it. Real quick, we're going into the gravity feed. The gravity feed pretty much just in general sucks. Just being honest. Just sucks. So yeah. I think the Argus Researcher is good. But yeah, that's about it. All right, so that's pretty much the show for today. I am exhausted, like really exhausted. So you can follow me on Twitter at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me to take a nap, but get some food in me. You could check out my random musings there. Sometimes my exercise stuff too. You can also email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com and tell me what you think of the Flash set. If you want to utilize my services, feel free to email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com if you're looking for paid mentorship, or you just have questions in general about heroclix. And last but not least, you can check out the blog, startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. All right. Oh, and if you want to donate to the show, you just donate through the blog. All right. That's 2 hours of me sitting here and 3 hours of me doing prep, and I'm exhausted. So thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, we all have to start over sometime.